today we're going to use our notes, but I'm not going to follow them quite as closely as we normally do. Okay? Over the course of today and tomorrow, we're going to learn about this idea of a box and whisker plot. And I believe it's old news. Okay? But we'll see what we can figure out. So what we have to come up with is something, we have to get 5 numbers from our set of data. Our numbers are the minimum, the maximum, the median, quartile 1, don't panic, I'll explain what that means in just a minute, and quartile 3. And again, I will explain that as well. Correct, that is in order, from smallest, minimum, to the largest, maximum. So let me explain briefly what the quartiles are. We're going to take our data and divide it into 4 equal parts, thus making quarters of the data. Somebody say okay. Okay. Great. We call those quartiles, not quarters. Maybe you're familiar with a chunk of graph paper and you draw the XY axes and it makes the quadrants and it divides into how many equal parts? 4. 4. Quad 4. Quad 4. 4. 4. Quartiles 4. So we're going to do the same thing but with our set of data and we're going to find the quartiles. So, let's start with our data here, number 1. I see that our data is already in order. Will you confirm that I am correct?
Yes.
Great. So I should be able to find the minimum and the maximum quickly. Min, max. Because our data is in order. Those are easy to find. Can we also find the median?
Yeah.
Good. Get your fingers out. Start walking. Walking in towards the middle.
73.5.
Correct. So those 3 are very easy to find, especially if your data is in order. Everybody okay so far? Fantastic. The new pieces, this quartile 1 and quartile 3, we're going to find the half of the first half. So quartile 1 is going to be halfway between here and here. So somewhere in that general area, let's get our fingers out and figure out where that is.
66.
Try again.
67.
67. Quartile 1. Also sometimes called the lower quartile. So quartile 1 or the lower quartiles, right smack dab in the middle of that lower half. Anybody want to guess what we're going to do to find quartile 3? Yep, go ahead.
Take the second half.
Yep. We're going to find the half of sort of the top half. Okay? And so again, we're going to count back into the middle, and I believe it's right here at 83, and that is called the upper quartile. Okay, so we've got some new vocabulary, we've got a couple of new procedures going on here, but it's not particularly tricky yet. So I'm sort of answering all of A, C, and D right now. I just am not identifying which one goes where on the notes. Letter B as in boy asks us to find the range. We're not going to spend a lot of time finding range at all. Go ahead. Right, it's max minus min. So our 98 minus our 52. And that tells us how spread out the data is. If that's a small number, then our data is pretty close together. If it's a large number, then our data is pretty spread out. Don't move, I'll step over. Okay. That pretty much covers example number 1. What I'd like to do is have us do this whole example again, but on our calculator. Okay? So turn your calculators on, please.
There we go.
Great. There we go. How do we put this data into our calculator?
That's for you.
We push our stat button and edit. I put mine in list 1. You can put it in any list you want to. You have 6 to pick from. Now that you have your data in, now we want to have the calculator actually calculate. So we go back to stat, slide over to calc for calculate. And the very first one, we only have one list of data to deal with, so we want 1 bar stats. Now I put mine in list 1, so I don't have to tell the calculator anything else. Did anybody put theirs in list 2 or 3 or 4 or anything? Okay. If you did, you would do second, and then whichever number list you used. So you can just push enter and our numbers should match. We should match. My screen and yours should be the same. Where are these numbers?
Hey, you've got your ways.
Yeah, you gotta type these in. That's what you were doing while I was paused. Okay. I don't see anything that says minimum, maximum, median. I got other stuff going on there. What? I just have to go down? Oh, is that what that little arrow on the screen means? That there's more information below? Wow. Oh, ding, 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 ding. There they are. Do they match what we found by hand? Really? Huh. We did it. Yay! So, you can put your data in the calculator, especially if you have a large list of data. I would have your calculator do the calculations for you. But if you don't have a very big list of data, like what we did by hand, probably fine, just do it by hand. Okay? Great. The other good news is we're going to now use our data and make a box and whisker plot. So down at the bottom of our paper, they have left for us on our notes a number line. And on top of that number line, we are going to build a box and whisker plot. Let's have a brief conversation about our number line. Okay? Can my number line go in any order I want? So can I go 5 and then 7 and then 3 and then 12 and then 67?
It's gotta be in a same pattern.
Okay, it's got to be the same pattern. It's got to be in order. Now by pattern, what do you mean?
Like 5s, 10s.
So I have to count by the same amount each time I move to a new bar. So I'm going to start, where am I going to start? What numbers would be a good place for me to start for this box and whisker plot? 50. 50? All right. And in the interest of time, I already know that we can't count by 1s to get out to 98. I know that we can't count by 2s to get to 98, so I'm going to go 5s. But my marker is big, so I'm going to write on every other one. You're certainly welcome to write on every one, but my marker is kind of chunky when it writes.
I thought you said 5.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've got 50, 55 I didn't write, 60, 65 I didn't write, 70, and so on. Okay. Now I'd like you to watch Some of you might remember how to do this, but this first time I'd like you to watch it happen. Watch the magic, okay? The minimum and the maximum are where I start. There's really no rule about where you have to start. Our minimum is 52, correct? So I'm going to make a small mark floating up here in space above where 52 is roughly. I'm going to do the same thing at this end at 98 roughly. Those two marks should be the same in length and they should be at the same level, same height. Okay? And you don't have to be perfect on that, just eyeball it. Then I'm going to use the other three numbers, quartile 1, the median, and quartile 3. Quartile 1 is 67?
Yeah.
Thank you. So above 67, or roughly above 67, I'm going to put a mark. Now it's going to float up in space, but it's going to be longer than my min and max. And there's not really a rule about how much longer or anything like that. I don't get out a ruler and have to measure that. I'm also going to draw my median and my quartile 1. So I need 73 and a half, and I need 83. Those three pieces of information get connected top and bottom to make the box of our box and whisker plot.
Why is there a line in the box?
That is our median. Okay, it represents where our median is. So this is Q1, this is Q3, so the ends of our box. I've called it a median, but what else do you think it could be called?
The middle.
Okay. What quartile do you think it might be?
2.
Yep, so it could be quartile 2. Good. And the last piece is to connect your box with the whiskers. Okay? So congratulations, you have made your first box and whisker plot of this school year. Yes, round of applause for everyone involved. Okay? Not very hard. You need those 5 numbers, min and max, quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. That's all you need, are those 5 numbers. Okie dokie dokie?
Yeah.
Great. Let's go to the back. We're not going to do everything on the back. So number 4 has us make another box and whisker plot from scratch. I'm going to skip that and come down to number 5. Number 5 has a box and whisker plot already made. And it's asking us to interpret or read that box and whisker plot. Okay? So we have 20 students in a physics class who took a quiz. And these are where their scores are. Letter A, what is the median score?
75.
Oh, how do I, hold on, what am I counting by on this scale?
2 twos.
Twos?
71.
So this is 52, 54, 56, 58. Okay, all right, that works. So where's the median, did you tell me?
71.
71, because it's right here. So 71%. Great. What is the range of scores? So I need to know the max and subtract the min. So what's our max? 84, good. Minus our min, which is 53-ish. So those grades are spread out over 31 points. It's kind of a big spread. Can you see that it's kind of a big spread when you look at the box and whisker plot? Okay, their grades are spread out quite a bit. What score is greater than or equal to 75% of all other scores on this quiz? Wait a second. Is this asking where's 75% on the, who got 75%? Or is it talking about where is 75% on the box and whisker plot? On the second part. So, let me just label these again. This is our min, quartile 1, I'll call it quartile 2 for now. quartile 3 in our max. So those same 5 numbers that we did on the front. Well, they want to talk about these in terms of percentages. All right, fine. If I'm right here, if I'm right here at the min, how much of our data is below that?
No.
None, right? 0%. We have no numbers below this 53. What do you think is true if I'm up here at the max? How much of our data is below the max? All of it. Okay. What do you think Q2 is going to be for, as far as what percent of our data? 50% of our data. All right.
3 will be 75, 51 will be 25.
Yeah. So this is 25 and 75. I don't know if you remember at the beginning I said we're going to divide our data into 4 parts. So 25% of the data, 50% of the data, 75, and then 100. So letter C is asking what score is at this Q3 place? 76. Okay, let me explain it. Go ahead and finish writing. This says, this box and whisker plot is telling me that 75% of my students, or Mr. Greco's students, scored a 76 or less on the test. 3/4 of my class
It'd be more.
scored a 76 or less.
Plus, I thought it was more.
Oh, greater than or equal to?
Didn't mess this up, did
Nope, I'm good.
So it's less than?
Mm-hmm.
But it says, okay, never mind.
It's the top of the 75th percent of the kids. So instead of chopping the grades in half, I chopped them at the 75% mark. And that score was a 76. So that means that 3/4 of my class are scored a 76 or below. 76 is the top grade at that division right there. Letter D, Mr. Greco regularly sets the passing grade on his quizzes to be the score of the lower quartile. Ooh, have we used that term yet today?
Yeah.
What is the lower quartile then?
Q1.
Yes, Q1. Do we know what the upper, or what the Q3 is?
Yeah.
Upper quartile. Good. So what is the passing grade for this quiz? In other words, where's Q1? 25%, which is what score? 64% is passing for this quiz.
Do teachers really do this?
This teacher does not do that, no.
That's a computer.
65 is my number. That's all I want to do with you as far as notes are concerned. Okay? Tomorrow we're going to do more box and whisker.
That was just getting number